Well, welcome back to 843. I am with Steve Wilmot, who's the tournament director. So as we've been talking about the tournament, it's a high-ranking, world-class tournament. What are some of the details of it?
Well, it's one of the premier events on the amateur circuit each year, and it was something that was created almost 20 years ago by two actually members here at Berkeley Hall. Duke Delcher, along with Tom McKnight, two of the top amateur players in their time, and Tom had played some professional golf as well. But it's the fact that it's an invitational. It's the fact that it's also in one of the premier golf communities in the country. Wonderful facilities for the players. All they have to do, as Adam mentioned earlier too, is truly show up, and everything else is taken care of, from certainly the golf and the competition, but the food and beverage, the facilities, the pool, the fitness center, the practice facility, which is second none in this community for sure. So it's and then at the end of it too is an exemption into the RBC Heritage each April, and which adds a little bit to the strength of the competition.
Well, and Steve, I'll kind of piggyback on that. How did the Heritage Classic Foundation get involved with the Players Amateur and Duke and Tom when they kind of first created it? Yeah,
well, Duke and Tom had come to us at a time to really, it was about the exemption more than anything, which was interesting. But and then we realized when you have the likes of Bill Haas, Ricky Fowler, Bud Colley, Brian Harmon, all having been past champions of this event, let alone the likes of Dustin Johnson, Billy Horschel, Matt Kuchar, Lucas Glover have played. It's kind of like, oh, makes some sense to align ourselves with it. And but we've been able to, from that relationship, been able to in working with Berkeley Hall as well as partners, that we've been able to get fully engaged, and it's a part of our one of our assets at the Heritage Classic Foundation, one of the biggest assets the Heritage Classic Foundation has each year.
So kind of on that same note, almost 20 years ago this event started, and what are some of the past participants that maybe you remember the most, or maybe we've heard of the most on the PGA Tour since it started? Well,
you had even mentioned, and I did a little bit too, even you look at our winners, which is pretty incredible, of who's who on the PGA Tour, but you also look at the likes of the Lucas Glovers and the Matt Kuchars and the Billy Horschels, the Mark Leishmans, Dustin Johnson, Brooks Koepka. You look at these players that have been front and center over the most recently too, that have been here. So it is truly for those spectators wanting to come out here to be able to experience this wonderful facility, but you're looking at tomorrow's stars, and it's sometimes tough from the Heritage Classic Foundation to sell who's the next DJ and who's the next Brooks Koepka, but they'll be out here in a couple weeks, and it's come on out and see some wonderful competition.
You know, it's interesting because the golf course has such a nice intimate feel as well, so when the spectators do come and watch the players, they have the ability to feel up close and personal, and when these kids go to rise to the top, they really say, I knew him when he did this at this hole here at Berkeley Hall. It's all those fond memories, yeah?
Well, and I just got chill bumps thinking about it. The relationships that some of these volunteers and that house and our partners, these relationships are created for years. I remember a volunteer that went to Mark Leishman's wedding a few years back, and you hear about them going to other tournaments and visiting and all too. But what you see over my shoulder here is you have 18 right here and 9. You have great competition. We're here at the clubhouse. There's food and beverage for the spectators as well if they wish. They get to see tomorrow's stars in a very different atmosphere, knowing that they will be inside the ropes on the PGA Tour someday.
Now, Steve, of course, anyone who lives in the Low Country knows all about the RBC Heritage and may not know as much about this tournament. And that's why we're here today, sharing all about it. And give us some more comparisons. We've hit on some things here, but as far as from the spectator's point of view, from your point of view, from planning the team, and how does that all work? How does it differ?
Well, it's Andy's really the tournament director of this event and the coordinator of it, but there's a lot from sales to, we do have a contestant AM, but certainly the operations of the event, working closely with Adam and the staff here from a food and beverage side. It's interesting that the week of the tournament, it's the same amount of hours. It's 4:30 in the morning till 9, 10 o'clock at night, but it's kind of 1/10 of the world. We don't have crowd control issue. We don't have parking. We don't have security. We wish we did. You know, we hope to someday with things, but it's still a lot of time and effort that goes into it, and it truly is a team effort. But on the other side, what's important to us is building these relations. We are giving back to amateur golf and junior golf. It's you know, this is more, as Adam mentioned, more of a collegiate field in a way, but it's not a collegiate event. It's just who's the best amateurs in the world that are here. But it gives us a chance to sit down and really get to know these players. And I kind of joked earlier too that during the Heritage I lose 10 to 15 pounds, and during the Players Am I gain 10 to 15 pounds because, you know, I'll sit down with 4 or 5 of the guys for lunch at 11:30, but unfortunately I'm sitting down with 4 or 5 other guys at 1 o'clock having lunch again.
Round 2. Yeah.
But it's building relationships. It's as what Adam mentions too. It's the PGA Tour experience. We're kind of getting them ready for that next step, and it gives us a chance when it comes April or it comes other events that I go to. You see them. They talk about the Players Am. We have Ali Schneiderjan's brothers playing in this. He's on the PGA Tour. His brother's on the PGA Tour right now. So you're creating these relationships that will hopefully help us in April. That if we're successful in April, we'll be able to continue to give back in this community. And at the end of the day, this community being Hilton Head, Bluffton, Low Country area.
And I think you said it best right there. At the end of the day, it's all about the community and the relationships that we build. So great stuff. So this is a tournament for anyone and everyone to come out, especially some young folks who might be rising or potentially rising stars here in our local golf community. So stay right here. We're going to be back with more 843 TV here from Berkeley Hall.